college students, we are always going to class, whether we show up on time or tardy, and we're listening to professors stand behind podiums and tell us all about whatever subject we're trying to learn. Well, for my project, eosinophilic esophagitis, I wanted to target the college campus and really talk to different people and see if they even know anything about eosinophilic esophagitis. So, instead of standing behind a podium, let's go talk to people.
Have you ever heard of the disease eosinophilic esophagitis?
No.
Have you ever heard of the disease eosinophilic esophagitis?
No.
Have you ever heard of the disease eosinophilic esophagitis?
Eosinophilic esophagitis. Never heard of that. Nope.
Have you ever heard of the disease eosinophilic esophagitis?
No.
No.
I can't even say it. No.
Esophagitis.
No.
I have not heard of that disease, actually.
Have you ever heard of the disease eosinophilic esophagitis? No. Esophagitis.
Not at all.
Esophagitis.
No.
Have you ever heard of the disease eosinophilic esophagitis?
No.
Have you ever heard of the disease eosinophilic esophagitis?
No.
Hi, my name is Mary Margaret Fluke. I'm a student at North Greenville University. For this project, I'm learning about eosinophilic esophagitis. I'm learning about the treatment, the diagnosis, how many people have it, and what exactly is eosinophilic esophagitis. So stay tuned as you get to learn more about what exactly this disease is that not a whole lot of people know about. So obviously, as you can tell from the interviews, not a lot of people know about eosinophilic esophagitis. So how prevalent is it? So according to population and institution-based studies, according to pubmed.gov, there are, for every 100,000 people, 10 cases annually. So as a college student, you might be wondering, why do I need to know about eosinophilic esophagitis? Well, the fact is, there are a lot of diseases out there that a lot of people know about because the media talks about them a lot, like diabetes. Everyone has heard of diabetes, but few people have heard of eosinophilic esophagitis because it's not talked about a lot. Therefore, it's important for you to understand and just to educate yourself about some of the diseases that people indeed struggle with that are just not publicized as much as other diseases. So I hope that through this project, you're really able to learn one of the diseases that isn't talked about so much, and you'll be able to understand maybe someone that you might meet in the future that has it, that is unable to eat due to this condition, and you'll just be able to understand a little bit more about their way of life and the things that they have to go through with this disease. So what exactly is eosinophilic esophagitis? So it's actually pretty simple. Basically, an individual with this disease has too many white blood cells called eosinophils, and because of these white blood cells, the number of them, it causes inflammation. So individuals with this disease really cannot eat much food. Some individuals can eat some food, but a lot have to either go on only specific foods that don't trigger their EOE, or they have to go on strict elemental diets. And for my cousin who has this, that means drinking these like shakes every day. So I actually have a video of Remington Walls, who wrote the book Home Plate, about his condition of eosinophilic esophagitis, and he's going to explain a little bit more in detail about what this disease means. So enjoy.
Hey everybody, my name is Remington Walls, and I actually have eosinophilic esophagitis. I was diagnosed at the age of 3, and I was taken off all food at the age of 4. Basically what the disease does in simple terms is it acts like a white blood cell, the eosinophil does. It acts like a white blood cell and it sees the food as its enemy. So even as you're eating and even as the food is gone and digested into your stomach, the eosinophils continue to attack the esophageal wall, which can cause scarring, ridging, and it could even, after severe eating and over time, can cause your esophagus to close up. The best way I've been explained to is your esophagus kind of like the roof of your mouth. If you open your mouth in the back of it, it's like that. And then over time, it starts to become, if you eat for a really long time, it becomes really leathery, is the best way to put it. And then growing up with the disease, it was challenging at times. Birthday parties were hard, mainly because everything revolves around food. It's not just birthdays, Christmas, Thanksgiving. I mean, even just going over to hang out at a friend's house involves food. My parents are really hard on me. I wouldn't be who I am without them. Just, instilling in me that, this is who you are. You got to live with the hand that you're dealt. And you got to use this platform as a way to inspire others. As you grow older, everything, you adjust to, and everything can not really get easier, but because of the experience you have, it's almost easier to go through life with what some might say is a everyday battle.
So thank you to Remington Walls for the extra information and a little bit about his experience with eosinophilic esophagitis. So how is this disease diagnosed? Because obviously if you have symptoms of throwing up and stomach pain and difficulty swallowing, those are some of the same symptoms of food allergies. So what makes eosinophilic esophagitis, what makes the diagnosis different? So in order to be diagnosed with this disease, an upper endoscopy is required, as well as biopsies of the esophagus. They actually take little pieces of esophageal tissue and they view it under a microscope, and if eosinophils are found, then that's a positive sign that you have eosinophilic esophagitis. And then on top of that, of course, the symptoms of throwing up, stomach pain, and for adults it might look like heartburn, and children it might look like loss of appetite. So that's typically how they diagnose eosinophilic esophagitis. Out of all the things that we talked about, this is probably the most important. If someone has eosinophilic esophagitis, what does treatment look like? So there are so many different approaches to manage eosinophilic esophagitis. So according to the website SEEEOE.com, I know that's a mouthful, according to that website, there's actually no current FDA approved treatment. And so there's just not a standardized approach to someone who has this disease to treat them. So treatment could look anywhere from a therapeutic approach, which would look like, protein pump inhibitors. It could look like topical glucocorticosteroids. I probably butchered that. Topical glucocorticoids, or even esophageal dilation. Or it could be more of a dietary approach, which would look like an elimination diet, where you take away the certain foods that really trigger your eosinophilic esophagitis, or just going on an elemental diet, where you take out all food and you simply drink the elemental formula every day for your necessary vitamins and minerals. So those are the different treatment options. It really just depends on each individual. As far as cost goes, there's also not a whole lot of data out there saying, this is how much it costs for those who have eosinophilic esophagitis. There's just not that much out there. But to give you an idea from a primary source, my aunt, who they have to obviously pay for my cousin's elemental diets, they pay $25,000 a year because of eosinophilic esophagitis. They pay that much a year for the elemental formula that my cousin needs, which is about $147 a case, and there's about 27 little juice boxes in each case. So that is a lot. It's very important to note that insurance companies do not cover these supplemental diets that people with this disease need to even survive off of. These people can't eat regular food, and yet these insurance companies actually do not cover the supplemental diets that people like my cousin Remington Walls need. So Remington Walls actually really sought after coverage for people with eosinophilic esophagitis. And in Florida specifically, he actually was able to get it legalized and covered that insurance companies in the state of Florida will indeed cover these supplemental diets, but that is only in Florida, and your insurance company has to be with the state of Florida. So there's still a long way to go with these kind of pressing issues, and it makes it very difficult financially for people with this disease to cover the costs of these specific diets that these individuals need. So on a more positive note, support. Let's talk about support. So obviously we talked about how insurance does not cover it, the elemental formula and all of that, right? But what kind of help is there? So an amazing website is appfed.org. And if you look up their website, they have all kinds of resources. There are support groups. Most of their website is just information about, how do I travel with this? Like, what does that look like? Schooling, what do I do if, going to restaurants? Just practical information with those who have eosinophilic esophagitis. So, appfed.org, nonprofit organization, very, very helpful. Another one is seeoe.com, which I mentioned earlier in the video, and they also just have lots of information about managing EOE, and they also have a resources page on their website as well. So there's definitely help out there. So appfed.org and seeoe.com. Prevention. So there's actually no way to prevent EOE from occurring. It is most common in white males, and it is said that it is possible that genes do play a role in whether or not someone has eosinophilic esophagitis.
I don't know about you, but I got a little bit tired of the classroom background for all the videos. So let's do the conclusion out here. What do we learn about eosinophilic esophagitis? So what is it? It's when an individual has, like we talked about, lots of extra eosinophils, which are like white blood cells, and that causes inflammation. We learned about prevention and how it's not a preventable disease, but it's most common in white males. We talked about the treatment and the cost and how it's very different for each person, but you can either do dietary treatment or therapeutic treatment. We talked about the prevalence and why we need to know about eosinophilic esophagitis, and how about for every 100,000 people there are about 10 cases annually. So I hope that you learned a lot about eosinophilic esophagitis, and next time someone asks you, hey, do you know what eosinophilic esophagitis is? I hope you can answer yes. In fact, I know quite a bit.